Welcome to Igniting Discovery, an AUA News and Sidetracked podcast. This series is part of the AUA Innovation Nexus, an ecosystem that connects innovators, clinicians, and industry leaders to advance discovery in urology. In each episode, we hear directly from those shaping new ideas and moving innovation forward.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to the Igniting Discovery. It's the AUA News Inside Track podcast. I'm Chris Rowland. I'm an investor and I'm also a mentor for the Innovation Nexus ecosystem. Tonight, we've got a couple of our flagship CEOs that have joined the AUA Nexus program, early stage companies that have really benefited and able to accelerate the path from idea to impact, and really leveraging the Nexus Bootcamp that we had a year ago, actually last September. We've also got Dr. Jeff Dan, who is himself an amazing young man, specifically in the reimbursement space. The guy is a tremendous resource. We also have Laura Venier, and both entrepreneurs, along with Adam Yaacov, who's joining us from Israel. Both of these companies have leveraged connections and feedback from the bootcamp and really have secured investment already. So Jeff, Laura, Adam, thank you for joining us and really appreciate learning a little bit more. Why don't we start with some introductions and maybe tell us a little bit about who you are, your role, what the Innovation Nexus ecosystem has done, and really a bit more about the bootcamp experience. Jeff, why don't we start with you?
Sure. Thank you. Just for about my past experiences, I was the past chairman of the American Urological Association Coding and Reimbursement Committee for probably about 12 years. And in that role, I learned how important coding and reimbursement really determine a product success. So how does this fit into Innovation Nexus? I think that the Nexus is a unique platform. It guides startups to correctly present their products, gain access to capital, and from my standpoint, to really understand the reimbursement process itself.
Man, that's so critical, Jeff, and that experience is just so valuable. Laura, I'm sure you've got a million questions for Jeff, but why don't you give us a little bit of background first on your experience with Nexus?
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me. My name's Laura. I'm the founder and CEO of Arch Biotech, and we've created the first plug-and-play device to automate urine output and continuous bladder irrigation monitoring. So we attended the 2025 bootcamp, and it was one of those really incredible experiences where you got into the room and immediately you felt the support and wealth of knowledge. I think, especially coming from the Canadian ecosystem, making the transition to having those US-based conversations and really understanding the US system, you really have to find the experts, especially on, we'll bring up the reimbursement side as well. That's something so critical to the success of a product that is completely different in the Canadian ecosystem. So having those resources all in one place not only helped us identify the areas that we could improve on, but also helped us understand where our blind spots were. And we had quite a few before we entered the bootcamp, which we were able to then put in place that support system to really address throughout the year.
That's really well said, Laura. And coming from Canada to the US market, and what you learn, really, it's not just about the Canada, US, it's including Europe, Latin America, Asia as well. So I think that diversity of different healthcare systems is critical. Adam, how about yourself? You've got a similar story, but perhaps slightly different as you're coming in from Israel.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for having me, Chris. My name is Adam Yaacov. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Urologic Health. We are developing the first non-invasive urodynamic study. So first, and we had also attended the AUA Nexus Bootcamp 25. I think one of the most overwhelming things were when we attended when we walked into the room at the AUA Nexus Bootcamp is that we immediately saw all of these people and stakeholders that we were struggling to get to talk to in the previous almost 2 years that the company is founded. So for me, it was a great experience to actually see in one room all of the people that you are trying to chase from throughout the urology community, whether it's strategics, investors, reimbursement experts, FDA experts, or everyone in the same room. It's been a wonderful experience for us and really a booster for us as a company that comes from Israel and not all the time have the access to these resources.
I love that answer, Adam. And I've been in your seat before because you're trying to figure out, okay, what do we do next? And I really wish I could find somebody to talk about reimbursement or regulatory or answer some clinical questions. And you walk into the Nexus Bootcamp, and there you go. You've got your ideas, your pitch deck, your plenty of caffeine in your system. It has to be just an amazing reality check those first few hours.
True. So as I mentioned in the first few hours, we just look at everyone in the room. You're mapping out who is who and who are the people that you need to talk to and when exactly. So for us, it was really, I was there with my CTO, with Noam. So we immediately mapped out the room and figured out for him and technology guy who
Right.
to be talking to, and for myself, what should be my agenda for the next couple of days.
That's so awesome. Laura, how about yourself? You come from more of an academic background. So coming in really and seeing the commercial power that's part of that innovation nexus, or even the clinical power, how was that for you?
Yeah, I will say it was quite impressive being in that room. I don't think I've been in a room with just so many high caliber individuals across so many different facets of the commercialization process. Everything from clinical research through regulatory, through the technical side, and then even on that commercialization, fundraising, business development. There's just a
Right.
wealth of expertise there. And I came in as a solo founder. So I attended the boot camp solo actually. And I will say I was running around the whole time trying to get everyone and trying to meet with everyone just because it was such an amazing opportunity where everyone was in one room.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you both know, it's really about time, money, and resources. And if you can save a bit of time on that development plan or clinical plan and talk with the number of available resources that the Nexus provides, it's incredible. And Jeff, as a mentor, you see a lot of these companies, wonderful technology, highly technical concepts and ideas. Based on what you've seen, what are the most typical mistakes that founders make in their initial pitches? And how do you help them through that? How do you help them focus?
Sure. Uh, I think that when presenting, some of the presenters really get tied up with the technical pieces of their science
That's a good point.
and really over-focus on that. And they miss an opportunity to clearly present the actual business plan. I think what the Nexus does is it teaches them a more balanced approach. And what this does is it maximizes product value. So it's not just the technology, it's not just the science, it's the whole plan itself, step by step, in that balanced approach that really is going to excite potentially the people that will invest capital.
Yeah, you are so right. I tell a lot of the companies I work with is, sell the dream. Many of these startups are so technically capable that they just drop way down into the weeds and start talking about clinical trials. And even at some point, starting to anticipate a question or an objection that may be around the next corner. It may not even be relevant. But when you've got people like this in the same room, talking about the dream, talking about what's exciting about it, and really preparing the company for those investors. And that's really what it's about. Adam, geez, a great transition. You turned a 2-day boot camp into about a $10 million, $11 million raise. I mean, how did that happen?
So really, I wanted to echo what Jeff just said. It's for us, it's been really about crystallizing our message. When we started the bootcamp, exactly like Jeff said, we were throwing everything on the crowd, starting with the technology, starting with the clinical proof and everything. So because your technology is really great, and all of us entrepreneurs are very proud of what we are doing, but sometimes you need to roll back and kind of explain your vision, explain your story, explain your business model before getting into details. Some of the investors, I wouldn't say they don't care about the technology, but they care about other stuff as well. So one of the out of many things that we've done through the bootcamp and actually realize is the need to be more balanced, like Jeff said, on the pitch deck, and kind of go through the story, the entire story, and not neglecting the things that you are seeing as a disadvantage. So yeah, more balanced approach, more telling the story, telling your narrative rather than deep diving. I think it helps us a lot.
Yeah, that's so true. And the recognition or realization you're probably not going to close the deal on that conference room floor or in the ballroom of the hotel during the Innovation Nexus. What you're trying to do is gain favorable interest. You're trying to get a positive attention, a read from a potential clinical or investor or strategic that you're moving in the right direction. And it has to be a stepping stone. And know that really that next opportunity you have to meet them, you go slightly deeper and then slightly deeper again, that you don't have to go through everything in that first meeting. So I think that's very well said. Laura, the boot camp's intense. Look, there's 2 days of a lot of work and a lot of focus and a lot of energy. But from my perspective, that work starts when you leave the AUA headquarters. How about yourself? How did that follow up? What was that continuous access to the Nexus community? Or how do you navigate some of that long list of milestones or to-dos after you left?
Yeah, I think following the boot camp, we spent a lot of time reconnecting with the mentors that we had met. And that was really the guiding force for what helped us prioritize what those next milestones should be. And it almost helped us cut out the noise. There's a million things that you can do with a business. Not all of them are needed right away to produce the value that you need to get to your next milestone. So just following up and really reaching out, ensuring that you're doing the work behind the scenes too, making sure that you are refining your talking points, doing the diligence not only on the clinical and technical side, but on the reimbursement, and really that full lifespan of the commercialization pathway, and validating that against the people that you meet at the boot camp. They truly are the experts in the space, and it was a privilege to be amongst that wealth of resources.
That's a good answer, and I agree with that. And you said something very important, Laura. Say what you do and do what you say, right? Because again, knowing that this is the process, when you meet with strategics or investors, here's what we're going to accomplish with this much money. These are the milestones. These are the endpoints. We came back. Hey, look, last time I told you I was going to meet these milestones, we did. Now we're going to do this. That's part of the relationship you've got to develop. And so that consistent communication, saying what you do and doing what you say, is absolutely critical. Medical innovation, Jeff, as you know, is a really long journey. Some of these companies that I've been a part of, I call it a 10-year overnight success. I mean, there are no shortcuts. From your perspective as a mentor, and you see the continued access within this Nexus ecosystem to really help founders maintain the momentum. These challenges that you see from clinical evidence to reimbursement to regulatory hurdles, it's not getting any easier, is it?
Not really. Look, from startup to commercialization, it's a long road. And most importantly, there are many speed bumps that are in that road. Innovation Nexus, I think some of the beauty of it, you have these access to experts in various fields, such as myself with coding reimbursement. But the process guides startups through these various pathways. And what's nice about it, as you mature, you have more and more access, and you have immediate access to the system
Right.
to find out, hey, maybe this is going to change, or maybe I need to change, my reimbursement strategy or my regulatory strategy. The people are there to support you, and I think that's really a beauty of the Nexus. It's not just a one-stop shopping on one day or 2 days a year. You could do this all year round and still tap in to level of expertise that you're going to need at that time.
Yeah, I would agree. I've been a part of companies that have crossed specialties from the GI world to the cardiovascular world and on and on and on. The AUA, I think, is well ahead of many of these other societies in providing not just the opportunity of something like this Nexus Bootcamp, but the resources that have really driven it to a very exceptional level. So I've been really impressed. So the 2026 Innovation Nexus Bootcamp is right around the corner. It's coming up in September. If Adam, Laura, Jeff, if you could give the incoming companies, let's say there's 20 companies, one single piece of advice on how to maximize those 2 days, what would that be? Adam, let's start with you.
So first of all, Chris, I want to reach out for those who are not going to participate and thinking about it. Don't, because this is an ecosystem that you definitely want to be part of. If you are in urology business, I think that engaging with this community is the best thing that you can do for you and your company. So this is one thing. And for the companies who are participating, my advice would be don't hide your challenges. Talk about your challenges, try to solve them, try to tackle it. They're going to come up anyhow. Due diligence process and conversations with strategics or with investors. So come very open, talk about your challenges, tackle them from the very beginning, and just be honest.
I think that's good advice, Adam. Laura, how about yourself?
Yeah, I would say I went into the boot camp wanting to hear some harsh feedback. I think going in with the mindset of wanting to be coachable, wanting to really poke holes and understand what's required to up-level your business, that was the mindset we went in with. And I think that was what helped us improve from the time of the boot camp to the showcase as much as we did.
That's good as well. Thank you. Jeff, what would you tell the folks coming in next year?
Yeah, I would try to tell them to make a list of what their most important needs are. But whether it's presentation, whether it's interest in reimbursement, whether it's regulatory, make a list of the critical things that you want to have answered, or at least make relationships with the people that can help you. And I think that takes away from some of the awe of being there and individualizes it for your particular company or project.
I think that's great. 3 terrific answers. I mean, as a mentor and an investor myself, it's being prepared. Certainly, Jeff, as you said, know what it is you're going after and get in there and track down those answers and really be precise on what it is you're trying to find out. At the same time, Adam, I love what you said. You've got to be open. I tell people to be kelp-like, like a piece of kelp in the ocean. You've got to be flexible. You've got to be able to take information, good or bad, and really work that into your presentation or into your pitch or into your, next discussion with a clinical MD. And Laura, your answer on how it is you take this information and really prepare yourself in the company is great. So, Jeff, Laura, Adam, thank all 3 of you really for joining us and for sharing your experience. I think it's terrific feedback. And for those of you listening, the applications for the 2026 Innovation Nexus Bootcamp are now available and open. But remember, it's only 20 companies. So I would get on it. It's a terrific program. And we've got 2 CEOs, Adam and Laura here, that have leveraged that experience into significant changes for their own companies. And with people like Dr. Jeff Dan as well participating and other mentors, it truly is a great experience. Thank you, everybody.
You've been listening to Igniting Discovery, an AUA News and Sidetracked podcast from the AUA Innovation Nexus. To learn more about the Innovation Nexus and how to get involved, visit auanexus.org.